Once the Fiori for Web pattern has been initialized with the corresponding design system, we'll apply it to the customer transaction. In this option, we can select the floor plan that we want to use for this pattern in this transaction. We click on it and see that it opens this screen. Let's look at the first one, ListReport. It shows a preview of the information and functionalities provided. Here we see that it'll show a grid with the identifier and name of each customer, with the possibility to update or delete them. It's also possible to insert a new one, in addition to filtering what's seen in the grid. The other floor plans are different ways, with more or less functionality, of working with the customer transaction data, in other words, with the list of customers. We choose then the ListReport floor plan. And these tabs appear, each one showing the objects or screens that will be associated with it, as we'll see in a moment at runtime. For example, here's a screen similar to that of the transaction. It'll be used when we want to insert, modify, or delete a customer instead of using the web form of the transaction. And here we'll see the list of customers. In addition, we can see that this checkbox is selected. Apply this pattern on save. We save, and note what happens in the KB Explorer window at the customer node. All the objects that Genexus will create to implement the screens and functionalities of this Fiori pattern for this transaction will appear under the transaction. Before pressing F5, let's go to the preferences. Here we have a single environment for this knowledge base, although we could have many. In its properties, we find one named Startup Object, which indicates what will be the application's main object, that is, its entry point. Before applying the pattern, it was set to None. And that's why the Genexus Launchpad was displayed when pressing F5. After applying the pattern, we see that the startup object is called Fiori Launchpad. Where is this Genexus object that will now be the object compiled when pressing F5, along with its entire invocation tree? It'll be in the Fiori Base Objects module that was imported when we pressed Initialize Fiori a while ago. It's a Genexus object of web panel type. In other words, it implements a web screen. Now, let's press F5 to run everything that's been automatically generated by applying the pattern. The Launchpad with Fiori design is displayed in the browser, offering a card with a link to work with customers. It's also indicating the number of registered customers. We can perform operations such as displaying the complete information of a given customer. There we have the General tab that shows the customer's information, and buttons to update that information or delete the customer. Also, there's a Sales Order tab that'll show all the sales orders recorded for the customer being displayed. We can also update their information directly. This screen is similar to that of the customer transaction, where the navigation buttons have disappeared because we're positioned on the chosen customer. In the same way, we can delete the customer. We see that since it's calling a screen that has the transaction logic, in delete mode, if the customer has related sales orders, then it'll not allow us to delete it. Let's add a new customer. We can perform filters by name on the displayed customers and save a specific filter. We can also have a specific ListReport option as a card, tile, that will be displayed on the Launchpad. and from here we return to the Launchpad. We can also customize the grid data we want to see at runtime. For example, only name and address. Okay, what's displayed and the behavior of all these screens can be customized. For example, suppose that in the card corresponding to customers, we don't want to see the number of customers indicator, and we do want to see an icon that represents them. If we go to the ListReport tab, at the root, we see these properties. This tile indicates whether a tile will be included in the Launchpad with this ListReport. If we change the value to false, it'll no longer be displayed. This other property allows us to configure a specific icon, or rather, the icon code, according to the Fiori design guidelines. This property specifies whether an indicator will be included in the card. The default value corresponds to a count of the grid's base table, which in this case is the customer table. But we could change it to a formula or not indicate anything, and in the latter case, no indicator will be displayed on the card. We press F5. At runtime, it looks like this. Okay, now let's customize the instance of this pattern applied to the customer transaction. For example, let's suppose that we don't want to display the customer's identifier. For that, in the ListReport tab, we see a grid node with all the attributes that are being displayed in the form when the screen size allows it. This is in addition to the delete and update actions seen in the running grid. We eliminate those that we never want to see, or set the visible property to false. Also note that, under responsive customization, we configure visibility according to screen sizes. We've seen that, by default, the user's offered to filter the customers they want to see in the grid by their name. But where's the filter configured so that we can customize it, delete it, or create a new one? Below the header content node. If we delete it, we see how it automatically disappears from the preview. Let's try reinserting it. We right-click, select Add Filter Attribute, and choose Customer Name. We may also want to disable some or all of the insert, update, and delete actions for this panel. To do so, we go to the Grid Actions node, where we have the two actions that we saw running, one to insert a new client, and the other to edit the columns displayed. For example, if we don't want to offer the possibility to create a new customer, we set this Include Action property to No, and we see that it disappears from the preview. If we set it back to default, it reappears. The delete and update actions are inside the grid node, since they're shown for each row of the grid. So here we modify the default value for delete and set it to No. In the preview, we can see how the delete option has disappeared. Let's press F5 to see it running. Good. So far, we've only seen some actions for the Customer List Report panel, but we can also customize the panel that shows the information of the selected customer. The definitions of this panel are those found in the Object Page tab. In the General tab, we try not to display the identifier, so we set its visible property to false, and it's removed from the preview. In the same way, we could customize the Sales Order tab. In this way, we've applied the ListReport floor plan to the customer transaction, and we've seen a sample of what we can achieve with very little effort.